What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here with another video, and today we are doing a Super Bowl special 5-round mock for both the Chiefs as well as the Buccaneers. So it's surprising that Brady's going back to the Super Bowl again, and I wanted to get you guys like a little fun Super Bowl-ish themed mock draft for you guys because obviously this is more of a niche mock draft channel. So without further ado, let's get into this because there's a lot to discuss and there's a lot to do. The only reason I made it 5 rounds is so this isn't like a 40-minute video, but you guys know the deal. And you know, there's been an event within the past 17, 18 hours. It was one of my series. We of course we got sound going on. We have something called the mock. And for those of you, because obviously didn't gain too many subscribers from it because most people watched it were trying to hate on it. Usually when people hear mock the mock, they see the word mock and they think I'm making fun of it. I don't understand if these people have never like seen TDN or Broshmo, but it is centered around the idea that you are just judging someone else's mock. And I addressed my initial biases towards Bengal in the beginning, but if anybody watched past the first minute, I commended him on doing a very good job. Had some stupid aspects in there, I will admit, but he did a pretty damn good job. It's a little bit funny to me, how people are just see something and hear one thing and then they just leave. But obviously, you guys stuck behind me. I really do appreciate it. I love you guys so much. You guys are a really good fan base, and it shows. It makes me pretty damn happy because when I see these little puppies coming after me, I realize I got some dogs in my chat. So that's a really, really, really stupid analogy, but you guys do like to stand up for me, and that's something I really appreciate. And you guys are a lot smarter than they are. So I'm very proud to have you guys as my fan base. But let's get into this. Buccaneers with our first pick. It's pretty obvious that it's down to these two ideas. I know a lot of people are trying to get Kadarius Toney on this squad. Not a huge fan of that. I'm not in the mood to go wide receiver right now. Dude, their fifth wide receiver. I know they're losing Chris Godwin most likely. Maybe not. Tom Brady has his way of making dudes do team friendly contracts. There, Kadarius Toney wouldn't be a great option, but I mean, we still have guys like Tyler Johnson as our fifth wide receiver. Like, dude, that guy's insane. I love Tyler Johnson, but we are losing about $30 million worth on the defensive front, and that's of course in Shaquille Barrett and in Ndamukong Suh. Looking at how deep, well, both the edge and the interesting. I did not know. A bunch of new guys in here thanks to the Senior Bowl. It's a pretty deep edge class. I'm not gonna lie, but this is a really heavily deep interior defensive line class. Like if we're gonna be able to get Jalen Tweeman in the fourth round, that's just so much more valuable than Christian Barmore right now. Looking at it, I am 100% down to get Azeez Ojulari right now. Jalen Phillips might be the better day one impact. And again, if Brady retires, like let's just say the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl, Brady retires, Azeez Ojulari is 100% the best pick. Then it's a 50-50 if he decides to stay one more year because Jalen's going to be a better day one impact. But Azeez, I mean, you can kind of trade him in the ways of similar to a Shaquille Barrett, as well as let Levante David groom him if you guys want to bring him back on. Of course, a franchise tag, which I think would be the best choice, but it doesn't really matter. I think Azeez Ojulari is the best guy on the board. I'm a huge fan of Azeez. Super young, super raw, but also he is a little bit more polished than a lot of these guys on the board. Jalen Phillips, he almost quit football for concussions. Apparently, it's what one of you guys told me, and that could be a red flag that gets him not in the first. And again, you guys have known I love my Jalen Phillips there, but Azeez Ojulari is amazing. He's pretty much the ceiling of Jason Away, but has a higher floor like a Boogie Basham. That's all I'm saying. Chiefs, we got to go for this offensive lineman. Again, we invested so much money into Patrick Mahomes that if he gets hurt, our entire franchise falls apart, right? Like we already know that like in a couple years when his 10-year extension kicks in and he's making a shit ton of money per year, that's going to really hurt the cap. And I know that we're probably bringing back both Osemele as well as Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, but those guys are also older. And I mean, if you get a Wyatt Davis or a Trey Smith here, that'd be amazing. Obviously, we could look at tackle as well with a Tevin Jenkins, but I'm not 100% down for that. I love Wyatt Davis in the run game. Honestly, Trey Smith might be the better pick though. They're just 1A, 1B. And of course, 41, 42. I think that also TDN realizes that as well. I think both these guys are first round talents though. Trey Smith has had a little bit of some mental issues as well as obviously had a heart issue. But we're gonna go Wyatt Davis here. It's too good to pass up. If they want to run the ball a bit better to allow Patrick Mahomes to pass, Wyatt Davis is just amazing. I love his talent. He's a great character as well. Ohio State, like these guys are monsters. It's great. It's great to watch them play. You know, it's interesting that people just try to hate on these Ohio State offensive linemen. And I know I have some of them on my channel. It's understandable for a lot of people to be like, I'm not a huge fan of Wyatt Davis, but I'm telling you, watch these run lanes that J.K. Dobbins went through. I keep saying it every year. Trey Sermon, like we're talking about how he had like a 200 something yard game. It's like you don't do that if you have an ass offensive line, unless you're a god. Oh, you already know, dude. If I could get Dwayne Eskridge at this point, I have him as a first round pick now. I did a full in depth study on him, watched every single rep he's ever done, in the past year, and it's just like this guy. He's special. He's a special talent. So I'd be intrigued on going a wide receiver at this point for this squad. But let's check out the running backs. I want to see, of course, like yeah, there's not really a good guy here. We're gonna look for more. Demetric Felton might be a good fourth round target for us. But I think we gotta secure this interior of the defensive line at this point. Looking at the guys who are on the board though, could wait one more round. Shoot, I mean, if we're gonna be losing Chris Godwin, let's replace him with a guy who I compared to a guy in Steve Smith Sr., Dwayne Eskridge. You guys might not like that pick at all. But if you guys are going to be losing Chris Godwin, this is under the assumption that Chris Godwin is gone. Dwayne Eskridge will be an amazing weapon. Again, Antonio Brown might be gone as well. So Dwayne Eskridge could play a huge role. You have him, Scotty Miller. Can you imagine both of them 4.3 speed? It's just unbelievable. You have Tyler Johnson there as well. You're going to have pretty much three guys within their first 2 years of their contract who are all really high level wide receivers. And we already know this team lives, breathes, and dies on this passing offense. And Dwayne Eskridge, he's going to come in. He's going to be 24, young 24, but he's going to be 24 at the start of the season. And that's going to be perfect, again, if Brady is there. And that's just going to be wonderful. It's going to be a seamless transition for him into the NFL, in my opinion, even though he's coming from Western Michigan. Now we have, of course, the Chiefs. With their pick, we got to go either linebacker with a Pete Werner on the board, Jabril Cox. I mean, I don't know why Jabril Cox fell a little bit. He is a bit older as well, but that's a day one impact right there with Jabril Cox. I think it's a little bit disrespectful to have him down that far. Pete Werner, surprisingly, is really talented. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was Pat Freiermuth that I was studying. He actually had a pretty good, like he could do a lot of stuff against a lot of guys, but Pete Werner was a big question mark. Like he can never get past Pete Werner. He definitely has that talent on him. But looking at the guys who are available, I think honestly a guy like De'Ami Brown might be a fun guy in the third or something for him. So we got to go linebacker here. And I'm going to be going Jabril Cox, somebody day one impact. Cameron McGrone is much more of a long term prospect. And Pete Werner, I can't see it. So Jabril Cox is going to be a fun guy here. We could even went Jabril Cox for the Buccaneers as well. Obviously, if you lose Levante David, we don't know. Obviously, I don't know the organization well enough. Of course, I would love more Bucks fans on the channel to teach me. But there are guys like I don't know how the. Of course, we're not doing trades because a little too RNG. But I don't know too much about the organization and what their tendencies are or who they're targeting right now. Obviously, I try to watch every single video that I can, trying to learn about all these guys. You guys teach me a lot, so probably Buccaneers fans are some of the least in like abundance on the channel. So I really want to be able to learn a bit more, and hopefully you guys could teach me. That would be fun. But now for the Bucks, we got to go for this interior defensive line, man. So there are guys like Marvin Wilson on the board. That's just like, dude, you get Marvin Wilson used to be my first round pick to them. I'm not gonna let this go. Osa is another one who's really good. I saw him be able. He has a great straight arm to where he's really effective in the run game. This is a sneaky pick right here, but I'm gonna be going Marvin just because we know how good Marvin can be. We don't know if he's going to be going back to that. I think he's has a higher day one value at plugging up holes, similar to Ndamukong Suh than Osa. But I mean, Osa and Tweeman have even Darius Stills both have high, or all three have higher ceilings than Marvin Wilson. At this point, this is where we might want to replace a guy in, of course, Sammy Watkins with a guy who he's actually put on some weight. I don't think he weighed in at 193 at the draft. I'm talking about Marcus, of course, that franchise guy. He was talking about this. I'm down to, of course, De'Ami Brown and Tylan Wallace. He comped Tylan Wallace originally to Darius Slayton, but He came to the Senior Bowl looking a lot bigger, according, of course, to Marcus. But I honestly think that he said is James Washington-esque, and James Washington is perfect for this type of offense. We could get De'Ami Brown here, who I'm totally in love with. I love De'Ami Brown. I gotta do my own little study on him, but I'm honestly gonna go Tylan Wallace. He feels more like an explosive Kansas City type player, and especially given these huge big play potentials, I think that there's just no way you can get around it. Tylan Wallace is an absolute beast, and I was even thinking about taking him in the second. Another guy who's a potential guy to take, which again I think is too short of a team if they do this, is a guy like Shi Smith who has been playing his mind out. He did really well in the Senior Bowl in his like one-on-ones and stuff. Had some great plays. Cornell Powell also moving up the draft boards just because he's been playing at a very high level. Somebody who I wish was at the Senior Bowl was Jalen Darden. I would have loved to see him actually against higher level talent. But dude, Jalen Darden's a really fun guy. Brady White in the fourth. Wow, I did not expect that. Did they reorganize the board? Because dude, Jamie Newman should be like really far down with how horribly he's been playing. Like the dude was Mr. Checkdown to for all the wrong reasons. I mean, of course, we could have had Jalen Twyman here in the fourth, but given his draft position, there was absolutely no chance of us guaranteeing that. But looking at it, we might want to look at the running backs. So Kylan Hill did not look too good in the Senior Bowl. Demetric Felton might be the guy we're looking after. He is a wide receiver, running back hybrid, and we know that Brady's been trying to pass to, of course, Leonard Fournette as pretty much a check down machine, trying to make him into Adrian Peterson. Demetric Felton is perfect value at this point. Keyshawn Vaughn was a guy who they're trying to really get going, and I think Demetric Felton, you can look at his size and be like, oh shit. I never saw that they could say 5'8.5" on here. That's very interesting. But he's a smaller back, obviously, and he's much more transitioning as a wide receiver. But if you're able to get him out in the open, people say Nyheim Hines is a good comp. I would say maybe like a James White. I mean, Brady's kind of used to having those guys in his backfield. And I think that'd be a really good thing for Brady to have because I'm not a huge fan of Rojo or, of course, Leonard Fournette being the receiving backs. They brought in Shady McCoy. Demetric Felton could fill that role very well. And that will honestly complete what they're looking for in that offense. And they don't really have too many other holes. Maybe we can look at linebacker as well later on. I honestly think they should franchise Levante David because he's that good of a prospect. And especially if they're trying to make another Super Bowl run. But at this spot, Robert Hainsey, he's switching to tackle. Very interesting. I thought he was a center for some reason. That's definitely interesting. But for the Chiefs, we might want to look into this tackle rotation here. Obviously, I don't know if they have the Eastern Carolina guy who I was looking at. I think his name's Dante Harris or Dante Smith or Deontay Smith. I don't know his actual how to pronounce his name, but looking at the guys on the board, it's not good enough value. And Jalen Twyman's still on the board. I think there's like zero chance in hell that we can let that pass up. So Jalen Twyman's going to be able to go with Chris Jones on that front, and that's unbelievable. That's absolutely unbelievable. Honestly, if they took him in the second, again, there's just guys who I'm taking right now who I honestly wouldn't be too pissed at taking him in the second. So we're getting some very good. I guess it's RNG, but obviously, DK Metcalf, top 10 supposed pick, falls to the late or to the mid second, and well, the rest is history there. So we'll see how that goes. Keith Taylor, another guy to watch. That's a late round steal. I think he's going to start instantly in the NFL. He looked really good. Had some reps where it was like a little head scratching, but he looked really, really good in some of his reps. And I think that's something that we need to commend there. At this spot, let's look at the guys who are available. Devon Diablo had a pretty good week as well in the Senior Bowl. I watched almost every single rep that anybody took, as well as every single play. But looking at the guys who are available, if we want to get some youth on the offensive line, Drake Jackson would be a pretty fun guy to get. Obviously, youth as in he is older, but youth as in somebody who's not a seasoned veteran. I don't think tackle is that big of a need. I'm pretty sure they just re-signed a tackle to a longer term extension. So with that being said, I think Drake Jackson might be the right pick here. Morrissey didn't do that great of a job, and looking at the rest of the guys who are available, I can't really get behind any of them. Obviously, I don't think they added in the kid who he's like the Canadian guy who was like benching like a freaking log or some shit. It was awesome. Great to see that. But I think we got to go Drake Jackson here. If they want to run the ball better, we saw them like to use Leonard Fournette in those fourth quarters. Drake Jackson's going to be super key for adding some extra depth as well. Yeah, I think it's a great pick. I love Drake Jackson. Looking at the rest of the guys who are available, Adrian Ely looked like he got a little bit exposed. Same thing with Alaric Jackson. Alaric Jackson looked really bad, like scarily bad. Down to Volson, which again, with how well that I'm forgetting this guy's name. Oh my god, he's supposed to be a first round pick too. Um, I'm forgetting, but his former like left tackle played. I'm a little bit worried at how that might be able to take pressure off Cordo Volson, but you never know. Cole Van Lennon though, if you're ever gonna get a tackle, you can just go to Wisconsin and be able to know at least you're getting something of a high floor, especially in the round 5 territory. I think Cole Van Lennon would be a great option here. We definitely might want to replace Frank Clark eventually. So looking at the guys who are available, Malcolm Kuntz not bad. Taron Jackson's pretty damn good too. Chauncey Golston had a good week as well. He's probably going to be rising up draft boards. But let's check the guys who are still available. We don't need a safety at all. Arguably, this is probably the best team with the safe in regards to safety on in the entire NFL. We could look for some extra corner depth, which I don't know anything about Wild Goose, but Trey Norwood's still on the table as well. Trey Norwood had a really good week. DJ Daniel did as well. Robert Rochelle. Honestly, Robert Rochelle could be a really good pick here. That's something I'm actually thinking about targeting because Robert Rochelle had a hard time dealing with speed, which might be a problem, obviously, with a guy like Henry Ruggs in the division. But they do have safety help. This team has great safety. So as long as you don't leave him in deep coverage, I think Robert Rochelle will have a really, really good time in the NFL. We're going to get off it. We're going to actually go with Teron Jackson, though. He played really well over his time at Coastal Carolina. Somebody who everybody's saying basically is a late round steal. So we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to say that he is a late round steal. Looking at the guys who are still available, you got Eubanks here, you got Gray. There's Paul Jan here as well. I don't know if he actually declared. He might not have. But this is where I'm going to look at the corners. To be honest, Thomas Graham had a really good week. He had some plays where he looks a little bit grabby, but it's down to Graham or Rochelle. And let's get Thomas Graham in here. Why not? Honestly, he's a really high-end player. He was playing really well. And I totally forgot about the fact that it's only a 5-round mock instead of a 7. But looking at it, I mean, dude, for the Bucs, we fixed up the defensive front with high-end talent. You got basically Godwin's replacement with essentially Steve Smith Sr. I hope he develops into that. That'd be wonderful. But honestly, I can really see it. You got your running back who you can finally check down to without like trying to force Leonard Fournette to be uncomfortable with that. Drake Jackson, get some extra line help. The Bucs, they're ready for another Super Bowl run. They're able to replace all their guys as long as they franchise tag Levante David. They're going to be perfect. And then the Chiefs, you got some extra line help in here. Like, why not, right? Like, obviously, you filled in those positions. Mitchell Schwartz is going to be gone after next year. You can address that probably in the first round next year. You got your interior fixed up. Wyatt Davis is going to be great for being able to learn as well. He doesn't have to be shoved in day one. Jabril Cox going to work with Willie Gay in a really good combo. Tylan Wallace, fun weapon to replace Sammy Watkins. Jalen Tweeman, I don't even know. I'm not even going to talk about that. That's insane value. Cole Van Lennon, again, somebody who's going to be a high floor tackle in case you can't get one next year. And then Thomas Graham, and Taron Jackson, just two guys who like have some really big potential. Obviously, they might not make a actual play at all in the NFL, but they have some really big potential, and that's where you can take that. So let me know what you guys think. I thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the far side. Peace.